couple problems out here. I'm going to do the ones that were assigned for homework, and any of the problems that we didn't do in class or that are not assigned for homework are just what I'm calling extra problems, like 5 and 6 are extra problems. And you can see their answers on a answer key that I provided. That's just extra practice in case you want to do it, okay? But let's go ahead and start off with the homework part of our study guide here, which is numbers 3 and 4 to begin with. So my function here is g of x equals negative 2x plus 7. And I'm being asked to find g of 7. And that means I'm going to be replacing the x with 7. And so whatever I do on one side, I do on the other as well. And so after that, on the right side, I just need to do my math. So I do multiplication and addition, and I should end up with my final answer there. Negative 7 is my final answer. All right, so that's number 3. Let's go ahead and take a look at number 4. So here we have g of x equals negative 2x plus 7 again. But this time they're telling me that g of x is equal to negative 5. So in that case, you replace that entire expression with negative 5. And for these types of problems, we need to solve for x by getting x by itself. And I end up with 6. Final answer. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our next set there. All right. So we're going to start off with number 8, h of 4. So I want to find where x equals 4, and then I want to find what the h value is at that point. And there's my answer. So the answer is 0. The next one we have to do is, let's see, number 11. So for h of j of 4, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what is this. So I'm going to find where x equals 4, and then I'm going to find the j value that goes with it, which is right there. So that would be 2. So j of 4 equals 2, but there's still this h with the parentheses around that. So now we're going to do h of 2. So I'm going to find where x equals 2 now. And now I'm going to go down to what the h value is. And that would be negative 1. So that final one there would be negative 1. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Number 14. We're being asked to find h inverse of 6. Now, I don't know what h inverse of 6 equals, but I do know that when it comes to inverse functions, that's the same thing as taking the input and the output and swapping them. So basically, I want to know what x value has an h value of 6. Okay? So here's where h equals 6, and the x value that goes with it would be 0. So the answer to that one would be 0. Okay, so inverses, you work backwards. Instead of starting in the x row, you start in the function row. All right, so for number 17, we're doing function combinations. We want to do g of t multiplied by f of t. So that's going to be g of t is t plus 4, and f of t is t cubed plus 3t squared. For this, you can go ahead and use the box method that I shared with you guys a little while back, where I'll make it a little bit bigger actually, where we put one of these binomials along the top and the other one down the side. And then we go ahead and multiply to fill in our box. Now when you multiply the coefficients. So 1 times 1 is 1. And you add the exponents. 1 plus 3 is 4. So this is going to be 1t to the 4th. Next, for this one, for this pair, 4 times 1 is 4. And there's no t to multiply it with. Just so you don't get confused, that's not a t there, that's a plus. I just put it next to the 4. So there's that one. Let's do the next one. Same thing, I'll get rid of the plus there. 3 times 1 is 3. And t squared times t to the first, but we add those exponents and we get 3. And then finally for the last one, 3 times 4 is 12. And then since the t squared has nothing to multiply with on the 4 there, it's just t squared. And then we have these two like terms here. We can add those together. Notice that they both have a t to the 3rd power. Since they have the same power, we can combine their coefficients. Now, if we do 3 plus 4, we end up with 7t cubed. And then we have this guy in the end, and then this guy in the front. And the reason why they're in that order is because we go from the highest exponent down to the lowest. So the final answer would be t to the 4th plus 7t cubed plus 12t squared. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next one. So this means I'm going to plug 6 into F, and this means that I'm going to plug 6 into G. After that, we're going to add our answers together. Okay, so let's begin here. So f of 6, I'm going to plug 6 into the f function. The f function is x squared minus x, and I'm plugging in 6 there. That gives me 36 minus 6, which is 30. So there's f of 6. Next, we have g of 6. The g function is given by x minus 5. And we're plugging in 6, and that's just going to be 1. So they want me to find what is f of 6 plus g of 6. Well, I just found out that f of 6 is 30, and g of 6 is 1. So 30 plus 1 is 31. That's my final answer. So we plugged into f, we plugged into g, and then we added the answers together. All right. So let's do a composite function. The way that you do these is you start by writing the inside function out first. So the inside function is the g of a. So I'm just going to write that out exactly as it's given to us. G of a is equal to 4a. The next thing we do is we write the outside function with parentheses instead of a. So the outside function is another g. So it's the same function. This time I'm going to write it, though, with blanks, parentheses instead of the a. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to plug in. And what do I mean by that? This piece drops down in there. This piece drops down in there. And now I've got g of a is equal to 4 times 4a. And then we just need to simplify it after that. G of a is equal to 4 times 4 is 16a. Final answer. All right, let's take a look at another one here. So let's start by looking at this piece right here. What this means is we're going to plug 2 into h. So here we go. My h function is t squared plus 4. And I'm just going to plug 2 in. That gives me 4 plus 4, which is 8. So since h of 2 is equal to 8, I can replace this now with 8. And what that means now is I'm going to plug 8 into the g function. My g function is t minus 3, and I'm plugging the 8 in for the t, and that gives me my final answer of 5. All right. For our next problem here, we're being asked to find the inverse of the function. So whenever you're finding an inverse, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to replace the f of x with a y. The next thing you're going to do is switch the x and the y around. The next thing you're going to do is start getting the x by itself, and that's where every problem is going to be a little bit different, but here we're going to multiply both sides by 4, so the denominator goes away. The next thing I'm going to do is minus this 4 on both sides, and that gives me 4x minus 4 equals y. And then finally, the last step is to replace the y with an f of x again, but this time it's an inverse function, so I'm going to put a little negative 1 there. And that's the end of it. Okay. So hopefully that was helpful. And once again, there are a few more extra practice problems for each type included with the answers on an answer key provided if you guys want more practice. It's just there if you need it. So anyway, we'll see you guys in class for your test. Have a good one.